Hello everyone and welcome to Cinderful Gaming. I hope you're all doing well, I hope you're all staying safe, and most of all, I hope you're all fighting that war against the grey. Today's video, we're going to talk about getting ready for Warhammer the Old World. So as many of you know, Warhammer Fantasy is making its return from Forge World, a subsidiary company of Games Workshop that produced things like many of the specialist games, along with Lord of the Rings, Blood Bowl, and all of that, and most importantly, Warhammer 30,000, the Horus Heresy. So, with Games Workshop, they announced originally with Forge World that they were going to be releasing this, and they want this to sort of be, I guess, a precursor, a Warhammer 30k to Age of Sigmar. They want to tell the stories of the old world again, revisit them, expand upon them, and also give us areas that they never really touched. And so today we're going to talk about, first of all, some of the small little rumours that are coming for Old World. But then, most of all, we're going to talk about armies you can start collecting already. Go grab yourself some square bases, and these armies are already available for Warhammer. And from Games Workshop, and this is really cool because it means you can start to get ready. We've been building some of our armies up on the channel to get some Warhammer Fantasy battle reports on the channel soon for you, and you should start to see these appearing early in the new year. But we'll talk about these armies and we'll talk about which ones you can get. And so, first of all, let's get cracking into those little bits of rumour. And so, starting off with the rumours. So, the first thing is we're looking at a 2022 release of this. There's been massive rumours that Warhammer Total War 3 was pushed back to coincide with the launch of the Old World to really capitalise upon it. And, you know, it all sort of does make sense. Been waiting a long time for the Old World. Now, I will say, I guess the points against this are that we've seen no model renditions at all for this, and we have been rather silent on all fronts with Warhammer the Old World. However, the next part of this maybe suggests what Games Workshop are planning on the initial launch of the game, and that's that we're going to see index army books on launch. These will be either a book or multiple books that will have all the available army lists in them from Warhammer Fantasy updated to be in line with what they're going to want to do with Warhammer the Old World. So this will feature all of the old armies plus some new, and maybe even some of the specialist armies as well. Things like vampire, you know, the zombie pirates of the Vampire Coast, Norse, Kislev, and all of those Dogs of War, Border Princes. Maybe all those lists will appear in here as well. But this is likely to be, you know, your main sort of Warhammer Fantasy armies in these books awaiting full rules. So this could be really cool. And this here is why I want to talk about, well, first of all, what armies are going to be available to you in the new game. And so there are quite a few armies that do have big ranges that are still available and still exist from Warhammer Fantasy. So let's go give them a check out and let's see what those armies are. And so here are a list of armies still available to purchase. Now, some of these are in varying quantities, and we're going to talk about each of them in turn. However, first of all, I want to talk about the armies not in this list. Obviously, we know Tomb Kings and Bretonnians were completely discontinued at the start of Warhammer Age of Sigmar, so they're no longer available in any fashion. And High Elves as well have been majorly discontinued, with only the Phoenix range from that army still available today, and the Sisters of Avalon. Now, this is big for High Elves because it does mean that their range is no longer available. Now, there is the option, of course, of using the Warhammer Age of Sigmar Lumineth Realmlords range, which I guess are the successors to High Elves, but do have quite a different aesthetic. If you're looking for an army that's going to be somewhat similar to how your army used to look, the Lumineths are definitely not going to do it. They're also much larger in a 32mm scale, which means they're not going to fit on those 25mm bases all that easy. But with that said, let's look at the armies. So first of all, we've got this in alphabetical order, so let's talk about each one of these in turn. First of all, Beastmen. Well, their entire range hasn't changed. Nothing was discontinued except for a few metal characters, which have plastic variations of them. Beastmen literally are the same army you were collecting back then, so you could easily just go pick this army up again. I believe the only things that were majorly discontinued that you'll have to, I guess, either convert or find models for are their old characters. Things like Malagor and all of that are discontinued. The character on Chariot, his name eludes me, Gorthor the Beast Lord, and all of that were discontinued. So you may have to make some cool models. But, you know, a Malagor model, put some giant black wings on the back of a Bray Shaman, and you probably got a cool Malagor stand in there. Demons of Chaos, much like Beastmen, did not lose any models. However, they have had some replacements since then for a bunch of different kits. So your greater demons are now on much bigger bases. While they weren't on they cannot fit on those sort of same bases they were fitting on in Warhammer Fantasy. I think we can safely assume that we're probably going to see these same demons used and base sizes updated to accommodate them in square-based games. The Dark Elves actually are the elves that came out of Warhammer Fantasy and still remain with most of their range available in Warhammer Age of Sigmar. We've of course lost special characters in all of those options like Malekith and Lockyer Felheart and Mullis Darkblade and all of that, but we do retain a lot of our models. There is no Dreadlord model on foot anymore. He has been discontinued, as have all the variations of the Dreadlord except the one on Black Dragon, but it's quite easy to convert up a Dreadlord out of your basic sort of kits. Many of us did that back in the day anyway. So we still have the whole range. We're just missing 3 key units besides our characters, which is the Bolt Thrower, which you could probably convert out of the Lumineth one with a slight bit of conversion. And then we're also missing both Harpies and Shades as well. We've then got the Dwarves. The Dwarves have had a fair bit of their range discontinued with their more specialised guns. We no longer have flame cannons, bolt throwers, and many of their artillery pieces, I believe. So we are lacking quite a bit of Dwarven artillery. You can still find a couple of the Empire kits, which you could easily use and convert up to be some Dwarven ones with some cool Dwarven crew, but most of the artillery is gone for the Dwarves. Now, we have seen changes to a couple of units as well. So we no longer have the Dwarf Warrior kit available, but we do have the Longbeard kit available. So you can definitely build a Dwarven army up with the Longbeard kit, sort of using that. We're also missing, I guess, traditional Slayers, which, much like the Lumineth Realm Lords, we do have the Fire Slayer models available to us to use, but they are 32mm bases and generally not going to fit on those 25mm bases we're wanting them to fit on. Lizardmen are pretty a-okay. They've got mostly the same range they had in Warhammer Fantasy. We've saw all their updates. In fact, they've got no new units. They've got a couple of different cool renditions of models, but no new units in Warhammer Age of Sigmar. So you could easily just grab your old Lizardmen collection. The only thing that they lost was to Henuin and a couple of the different Skink Chief options and Skink Priest options, but that's all easily converted up. Ogre Kingdoms, another army like Lizardmen, they pretty much got their whole range available to them. They didn't actually lose all too many of their named characters. Greasus is the only one that actually disappeared, as both Bragg the Gutsman and Golfag became Man-Eater models, and then we still have Scrag the Slaughterer as a Slaughtermaster model available to us. So Ogre Kingdoms are one of the armies where the entire range is pretty much available, bar one character who was not taken in a lot of games. Skaven, much the same. We lost most of our named characters, but the rest of the army remains pretty much the same. We haven't lost any units, and we've still got some really cool character models in there. You could easily find some bits to convert up some of your Skaven Warlords, but we do have Clawlord models or Warlord models available to us. The Empire lost a few things, so we lost the generic cannon and mortar, just leaving us with the rocket battery and the Hellblaster volley gun for our artillery, and we lost the War Altar and all of our warrior priests. So there are, some big misses there. The Witch Hunter, while that model is gone, there are some Witch Hunter models available for them. You can find the Vendenced models, which are a pair of father-daughter Witch Hunters, which you could easily use as stand-ins for a Witch Hunter in an Empire army. Vampire counts, much the same. We've not lost anything here except the named characters, which is another great army to get into. And on top of that, you could easily convert up a Manfred model or any of that. If you're not planning on playing end time stuff, you could find some spare pieces from the Manfred model and make your own versions of him, as you'd have the top and torso half of him available from the Mortarch box set. Warriors of Chaos, another army that hasn't really changed all that much. We've got some cool updated sculpts now for a couple of units, but other than that, you've still got your warriors, you've still got your knights. Your corrupted sort of Forsaken ones are gone and all of that, but for the vast majority of this army is unchanged. And lastly, Wood Elves. Wood Elves have got a few models still kicking around. You can definitely still make an army out of them. You've still got Eternal Guard, you've still got Wildwood Rangers, you've still got both your cavalry options, and you've of course still got the entire Sylvaneth range. You're missing Treekin, but you could easily use Kurnoth Hunters as stand-ins for them. The big issue for Wood Elves is, first of all, they're missing Glade Guard, but I think the way you fix that is pick up your Sisters of the Thorn and put on some hooded helmets to them, or just straight up use Sisters of the Thorn, Sisters of the Watch, rather, I should say. But then you've also missing a lot more of your elite units. Things like War Dancers or Way Watchers or Warhawk Riders are all missing from the range. So you are missing some of your more specialist units. But this is a list of all the armies available. So if you're wanting to get back into Warhammer Fantasy, or you're still playing, let us know what you're playing with. Let us know what you'd like to see on the channel from Warhammer Fantasy in the future. We've got a couple of armies coming on the go. I've got Dwarves, Dark Elves, Empire and Wood Elves all on the go, and you should see a Wood Elf army done pretty soon. So we'd love to hear from all of you, and we look forward to getting some Warhammer Fantasy content on the channel before, of course, we head off into Warhammer the Old World. Well, that's the end of the video. Thank you all for watching. Please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe if you have not already, and also why not drop us a comment below and let us know what you enjoyed about the video. If you'd like to come chat more with me and other members of our little community here at Cinderful Gaming, you can do so by following the link in the video's description to our Discord server. Also, if you'd like to help support the channel more and in another way, you can do so either by supporting on Patreon or YouTube members. You can do either of these by following the links in the video's description, and as a special thing for everyone who does, we'd like to give a shout out first of all to our Patreons: Christian Weir, James, Soren, Greenskins Gaming, AJC, Kenny Lowell, Outer and Shop First, Andrew Bowen, Nathan Fee, The Rising Ape, Q Dynamic, Agu, Anthony B, Anton Nilsson, JJ Austrian, Average Wargamer, Domer, Mark Harvey, James Cater, and Samuel. And a special shout out as well to our YouTube members: Greenrich Gaming, Kenton Young, Chris Wallace, Ronya, Vinny, Lockloric, The Johnny84, David Ellsworth, Revenar, Wolfric Nick, Broken Chef, and Sean Scott. Lastly, a special thank you to, first of all, Lady Witchfox Art, who does all the amazing artwork for the channel you can see here, and to Xmorphic, who does all the amazing background work for our Discord server, making sure it all works nice and properly over there. Thank you all for watching once again, everyone. Stay safe, stay well, and most of all, keep fighting that war against the grey. Ciao for now.